everyone, it's Casey. Whoa, my voice just like did something weird there. Hey guys, it's Casey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my book recommendations for the summertime.
My mom Facebooking me.
So I like to read a very specific kind of book in the summertime. Normally I read YA contemporaries that are set in the summertime. It's like this weird thing, but those are my favorite books to read in the summertime. So I do have a few of those, but I have some other books too that I think would be great summertime reads. So let's just start with my all-time favorite author, who I think is such a good summertime read, and that is Sarah Dessen. So this book is actually What Happened to Goodbye, which is my favorite Sarah Dessen book, but it takes place during the school time. So I would recommend this book as well, but it doesn't take place in the summertime. So just real quick, this book is about a girl whose dad has a job like taking over restaurants and kind of revamping them to make them be more successful. So she constantly is moving. Every like 3 to 4 months she moves to a different school, and so she kind of reinvents herself every time that she moves to school. And so she ends up in the town, I'm pretty sure it's Colby, because that's where most of Sarah Dessen books take place. And she meets like a bunch of like quirky side characters that I really love. And then there's also a love interest, and they do this really cool thing where they're put together like a miniature like village of the town that they live in. It's like a good like side project that goes on through this book. Anyway, this is my favorite one, but like I said, it takes place in the school year. So, Sarah Dessen does have some that take place during the summertime. I just don't own them anymore. I gave them all to my sister, and I've slowly been like building up my collection again. One of them is Along for the Ride, which takes place, it's about a girl who goes to a beach town to spend the summer with her dad, who's kind of estranged, and her stepmom just gave birth to a baby, obviously to a baby. I don't know why I had to clarify that. Anyway, so she ends up working in her stepmom's like bikini store, and so there's like side characters there, and then there's also a boy who works in a bike shop, and so there's a lot of scenes that take place on the boardwalk. It's just a really nice summertime read. And then there is also The Moon and More, which that also takes place during the summer in a coastal town. The girl works for like a beach rental company. It's really good. It's maybe like my second or third favorite. So I would recommend Sarah Dessen, even the ones that take place during the school year. Her books, even though she's my favorite author, I recognize that they definitely have a formula to them, where it's a girl who is struggling with something. It could be her family, it could be something that's happened to her, and then there's kind of always a love interest that, you know, who ends up not saving her, but who just comes into her life. So I think that they're so worth it. I know that they're not everyone's cup of tea, but she's definitely my favorite author. So the next book that I would recommend is completely different from a Sarah Dessen book. This is a book that if you want to read something that's kind of the times, or like the book of the summer, I feel like there's always one book that kind of captivates the public. Like a few years ago it was Big Little Lies, and I don't know exactly if this will be the book of the summer, but it's definitely the book of the moment, and it is All Beyond the Dark by McNamara. This is a true crime nonfiction book about the Golden State Killer, who, if you didn't know, was just caught like a month ago or so. I read this. It definitely, to me, is scary. Like, but I'm also a baby, so if just know that going in. Obviously, it's true crime. It talks about rapes and murders. It wasn't the best book I've ever read. Michelle McNamara passed away while she was writing this, and they didn't really finish her writing very well or at all. I actually have a whole video on this that I will leave link below if you want to know more information on it. But I do think that it's worth reading if you really like to kind of know, like at the water cooler, what everyone else is talking about. Getting back to YA, because these are my favorite books to read, my next author I would recommend is Morgan Matson. So I have kind of two recommendations for her. The first one is probably my favorite Morgan Matson, and it is Second Chance Summer. This is about a girl who used to always go to like a lake house, and then she stopped going for a couple years and kind of stopped talking to all of her lake friends and her lake boyfriend or whatever. But they end up going back this summer that they follow, and her dad is sick, and so it's kind of about her reconciling with her friends and also reconciling that her dad is ill. This made me cry, and I don't cry very easily, so know that going into it's obviously about a sick parent, but I think it's so good. It takes place at the lake. There's a romance, there's like friendships, there's, you know, a family coming together. It's really good, but it's going to make you cry. So if you're not into, you know, sobbing on your books while you're at the beach, I would recommend The Unexpected Everything. This follows a girl who was supposed to go to like an internship or something, but she ends up not going to it and spends the summer at home with her friends, and she takes a job like as a dog walker. And there is a romance, and it's also about her group of friends kind of being able to separate and to be individuals rather than only be known as this group of friends. And then it's also about her coming to an understanding with her dad and kind of reforming that relationship. It is very good. It did not make me cry, so if you're worried about that, but it probably is like my second favorite, Morgan Matson. So the next just general author I would recommend for the summertime is Nicholas Sparks. So this specific one is A Bend in the Road. It's my favorite Nicholas Sparks book, but I think that really any of his books you could read during the summertime. He's an author like Sarah Dessen. I've read all of their works. There's only one Nicholas Sparks book I haven't read, 2 by 2. It's his latest one. It came out, I mean, at this point, like a year or two ago. It's been out for a while. But I've read them so long ago that for the most part, I kind of don't remember what they're about anymore. So one of my plans is after I finish reading all the books I own, I want to go back and reread my Sarah Dessens and my Nicholas Sparks books. But this one I do remember. It's my favorite. This, again, there's nothing really summertime about them. This one, in fact, like takes place during the school because the main girl is a school teacher and she falls in love with the sheriff whose son is in her class, and there's kind of like a murder mystery involved, but it's not like a typical thriller going through it. It's really good, but like I was saying, so it's nothing summertime about them, but I think that these are just such good, they almost have the formula like Sarah Dessen. They're just good and almost mindless, but they're not mindless in the same way that like trashy romances can get, like the ones that Harlequin puts out, where those stories you can predict in your head. At least like these have a little bit of, you know, intrigue or substance going on with them. So I definitely recommend Nicholas Sparks. The next book that I would recommend is called Along for the Ride. It's by Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez, who are a father-son actor. They're both actors. And I recently talked about this in my like beginner's guide to nonfiction. So I particularly think this particular book would be a great summertime read because there's like a thread through it, which is modern day, that takes place when they're filming a movie called The Way, which if you have not seen that movie, it's so good. But so they're filming it, and they filmed it in Spain, and it's about a walk. I think it's called the Camino something walk. Like it's like a famous, you know, like 1,000-mile walk that people take. It's called a Camino de Santiago walk. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that because I suck at Spanish. But so there is something about that common thread where it's in Spain and they're doing this walk, and it kind of is a little bit kind of summertime or vacation-y. And this book in particular, it's a duo memoir. So at first you're following Martin Sheen and his early life and becoming an actor. And then once Emilio is born in the timeline, then Emilio kind of also picks up with his memoir section, so the chapters normally go back and forth, and then you get to hear both sides of the story. It's really good. I would definitely recommend this particular book, but in general, I think celebrity memoirs are kind of great summertime reads, because normally they're kind of a little bit juicy, they're a little bit maybe scandalous, and they're just kind of fun reads, especially if it's like an actor celebrity. I mean, if you're reading about like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, I'm sure that one's juicy, but probably not in the same way that like, you know, a housewife is. Even this one's not particularly juicy, but it has a lot of substance. So I would definitely recommend this book. And then like some like random housewives, you know, go read Teresa Giudice's book or something. And then the last book I have is like a brand new YA contemporary that I think would be a great summertime read, and it is Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian. This book follows Amelia, who works in an ice cream stand, and the owner of the ice cream stand actually passes away, and so the nephew comes and takes it over. And so it's kind of about Amelia's friendship with her best friend, who also works in the stand. It's about kind of her growing as an individual and kind of stepping in the spotlight. It's there's romance in it. It's just a really nice summertime read. It takes place in an ice cream stand in like a small town. It was just a fun read. I don't think it has as much substance as like a Morgan Matson or a Sarah Dessen book, but it had, you know, like a pretty good story. It wasn't just a mindless read. I read this super fast. So I really enjoyed it. It would be great to read on the beach or in your own small town or whatever. So definitely recommend that. So those are all the books I would recommend for reading during the summertime. Please subscribe and let me know down below what is your favorite type of book to read, like while you're lounging at the pool or by the beach or whatnot, or just at work wishing you were at the pool and the beach. Let me know. I'll see you guys later. Bye.